Hello, my fellow minor league nerds. As longtime viewers and listeners know, earlier this year we joined Curved Brim Media. Well, we are starting a series of episodes honoring our fellow CBM members. This first episode will honor founding member Ed Rivera of the Dad Hat Chronicles. In this first of a two-part franchise history series, we will be looking at the history of professional baseball in Raleigh, North Carolina, specifically focusing on the Raleigh Capitals franchise that played in the Carolina League. This first part looks at the team that existed from 1945 to 1953. The first professional team to play in Raleigh were the Raleigh Senators in the North Carolina Association in 1900. They finished the season 11-14. In 1901, they played in the six-team Virginia North Carolina League. On June 21st, the Newport News, Hampton Shipbuilders, and the Portsmouth Browns both relocated to North Carolina, becoming the Charlotte Hornets and the Tarboro Tartars respectively, and the Norfolk Skippers and the Richmond Grays/Bluebirds both disbanded in early July. This led to the league to change its name to the North Carolina League. All teams but the Wilmington Giants and the Raleigh Senators disbanded on August 17th. The two teams later agreed to play an 11-game championship series to crown a champion, but that series was never played, and Raleigh ended up claiming the title, saying Wilmington forfeited the series. But that appears to have been disputed, and we were unable to find any resolution to the situation. In 1902, the Raleigh Redbirds would play a few months in the North Carolina League before disbanding on July 15th along with the rest of the league while holding a 35-27 record. The West Bend Pilot from Wisconsin and other newspapers reported that the league failed due to the teams not being balanced. Apparently, the Charlotte team was just too dominant and fans began losing interest in attending games. The Redbirds returned in 1908, playing in the Eastern Carolina League. The team and the league lasted through the 1910 season, seeing the Redbirds finish in last place in both 1908 and 1910, while finishing tied for third in 1909 with a 49-41 record. In 1913, the North Carolina League, which began play in 1908, placed a team in Raleigh, and this was the first team to carry the name the Capitals. They would play for 4 full seasons in the league, with their best finish being their first season in 1913, when they ended with an overall record of 60-53. Their worst finish was in 1916, when they went 39-71. The team and the league would return in 1917, but with the United States joining the Great War on April 6th, the Capitals and the league would not survive. Raleigh and the Asheville Tourists would both disband on May 18th, with the league following suit 12 days later. Like so many places in the country that lost professional baseball due to the Great War, Raleigh would see it return in 1920 in the newly organized Class D Piedmont League, which would be elevated to Class C in 1921. They would play in the league through the 1928 season. Sources differ on the team's nickname during this time. Some say they played as the Nats in 1920, and as the Redbirds in 1921, and then as the Capitals from 1922 to 1928, with other sources listing them as the Capitals for their entire existence. During those 9 seasons in the Piedmont League, they would only have 3 seasons with an overall winning record, with the league using a split season every year but 1924. Their best finish was in 1921, when they ended with a 68-52 record, holding the best overall record in the league, but did not make it to the league championship series as they failed to win either half of the season. 1920, though, would see their best result when they won the second half pennant, finishing with an overall record of 67-53. They met the first half pennant winners, the Greensboro Patriots, in the championship series, falling 4-3. In 1927, they once again qualified for the championship series by winning the first half pennant, finishing with an overall record of 77-70. Unfortunately, they would fall in 5 games to the Salisbury Spencer Colonials. The city would not host a team in 1929. 1930 saw the Capitals return to the Piedmont League for 3 seasons. 1930 and 1932 would see an overall sub-500 record. In 1931, the league expanded to 8 teams and did not play a split season. The Capitals would qualify for the championship series by finishing in second place with an 86-50 record, 13.5 games behind the Charlotte Hornets. Once again, they were unable to win a league title when they fell to the Hornets in 6. The Capitals would not return in 1933. The Piedmont League would play uninterrupted through the 1955 season with the Class B designation. And that brings us to the subject of this episode. On October 29, 1944, the Carolina League, the same one that exists today, was formed in Durham, North Carolina with the Class C designation. It would be elevated to Class B in 1949 and then Class A in 1963 when minor league baseball was reorganized. It was the successor league to the Class D Bi-State League that existed from 1936 to 1942. It was actually the second league to use the Carolina League name, with the first one playing from 1936 to 1938 as an outlaw league, meaning it was not a member of the national agreement that was minor league baseball. Its teams mostly played in the textile and milling towns of western North Carolina. The league began with teams located in Burlington, Durham, Greensboro, Leakesville, Winston-Salem, and Raleigh in North Carolina, and Danville and Martinsville in Virginia. The team in Raleigh took the nickname of the Capitals. It was formed with the confidence that World War II was winding down and would be over by opening day. It was not. The expected influx of demobilized players did not materialize. With an estimated 4,000 minor leaguers still in the military, only 11 leagues began play in spring 1945, with the Carolina League being the only Class C league. That first season of 1945 did not see the best caliber of play, with some players being just teenagers. The youngest was Tom Paholski of Durham, who was just 15 when the season began. The Capitals were affiliated with the Cincinnati Reds and lost their first 2 games to the Danville Leafs. In one game on May 12th, Danville scored 17 runs against the Capitals in 1 inning. Danville, Raleigh, and Martinsville were the only teams to finish with winning records that season, with the Capitals ending with a 78-60 record, 16 games behind the Leafs. In the first round of the playoffs, Raleigh would lose the first 2 games to the Burlington Bees, but would rebound to win the series in 7, falling to the Danville Leafs 4-1 in the championship series. The Capitals were led by 2 outstanding pitchers that season. Roy Pinion, who won 3 of the 6 games in the first round of the playoffs, finished 21-10. Charlie Tim finished 17-10 and led the league with a 2.36 ERA. In one game against Martinsville on August 30th, he struck out 20 batters in the Capitals' 7-3 win. Fielding in the Carolina League that season was not great, with Greensboro committing 479 errors. Raleigh shortstop Eddie Jackson committed 71, while second baseman Owen Friend committed 5 in a single game against Danville in July. With World War II ending in 1945, 1946 saw the minor leagues swell to 42 leagues. The Capitals affiliated with the Boston Braves, who supplied a handful of players. Along with the Greensboro Patriots, the Capitals were a favorite to win the league championship. Raleigh was strong all season, and by the end of May, they were up on Greensboro by 1.5 games. Even a 10-game winning streak wasn't enough to shake the Patriots. By the end of June, Raleigh was only up by a game. On June 2nd, Dave Baxter hit a 3-run inside the park home run with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th to beat Winston-Salem 8-7. On May 2nd, they destroyed Greensboro 21-1. Just the day before, the Patriots had defeated the defending champion Danville Leafs 22-5. In June, the Capitals began to slip a little, losing 6 games in a row at one point. By the end of July, they were 6.5 games behind. At the same time, the Durham Bulls started to rattle off wins, making it a 3-team race for first place. On July 27th, they were 50-45. By August 22nd, they were 70-52, 2 games behind the Capitals. Raleigh dropped 2 to the Bulls on the 22nd and 23rd, seeing the 2 teams tied for second, 4 games behind Greensboro. Come the end of the month, Durham and Greensboro were tied for first, with Raleigh only 2 games back. In the game against Greensboro on the 27th, the Capitals scored 9 runs in the last 2 innings to defeat the Patriots. Raleigh then took 3 in a row from Durham, beating them 16-3 on September 1st, and then sweeping a doubleheader on Labor Day. The next day, they dropped a heartbreaker to Danville, losing 11-9 after the Leafs scored 8 runs in the top of the 9th. The following day, they overcame a 10-run deficit to beat Danville 14-13 in 12 innings. Raleigh and Durham finished tied for second at 80-62, 5 games behind Greensboro. The strange playoff format that season called for the league pennant winner to play the third-place team and the second-place team to play the fourth-place team. Since Raleigh and Durham finished tied with the exact same record, a 1-game playoff was played between the two, with Raleigh winning 8-7, meaning the Capitals would play the fourth-place Burlington Bees. Again, Raleigh lost the first 2 games, but won the series by winning the next 4 games in a row. They would face off against the Durham Bulls in the league championship series. The Bulls had shocked the Greensboro Patriots in the other playoff series. Raleigh would go on to win the league championship 4-2. They finished third in attendance, drawing 145,021. The following season of 1947, the Capitals were unaffiliated and would remain so for the rest of this incarnation of the team. The Capitals started off strong, but began to slip after pitcher Ray Pinion suffered a sore arm and pitcher Charlie Tim left the team, while outfielder Jim Mills suffered a broken nose and cheekbone after being hit by a pitch on June 1st. On May 27th, a fight broke out between Raleigh's pitcher Ray Hardy and Durham's first baseman Cecil Tyson, after Tyson accused Hardy of intentionally throwing at him during a pickoff attempt. Bad blood would exist between the 2 teams for the rest of the season. Jim Mills returned in early July, which helped spark the team's comeback. Pitcher Red Benton, who started 6-5, was able to turn his season around, having a solid rest of the season, finishing 16-10. They went on to have a 9-game winning streak later that month. In August, they battled Burlington and Winston-Salem for the top spot in the league, receiving a boost after purchasing third baseman Bill Nagel from the cash-poor Leakesville Triplets, also having some very solid pitching performances. On August 18th, Ray Hardy was an Ironman, pitching all 14 innings of a doubleheader sweep of the Greensboro Patriots, seeing the Caps win 8-1 and 7-1. 3 days later, Al Henninchek no-hit the Patriots 13-0. He didn't fare too well his next outing when he was shelled by Winston-Salem in a critical 10-1 loss. Despite the strong performance in August, Raleigh was unable to pass Burlington and Winston-Salem, finishing in third with an 81-60 record. Just like the previous 2 postseasons, the Capitals lost the first 2 games of their opening series, but managed to win 4 of the next 5 against the regular season champion Burlington Bees, qualifying for the League Championship Series, where once again they faced off against the Durham Bulls. They would win their second Carolina League Championship by defeating Durham 4-2. Catcher Harry Sullivan led the league with a .391 batting average and drove in 109. First baseman Dave Baxter hit .308 with 20 home runs and 117 RBIs, while second baseman Glenn Lockamy hit .302. The team's attendance increased to 150,110. In fact, the entire league saw its attendance increase as combined, the 8 teams drew over 1 million fans, something that was not repeated in the league until 1989. The Capitals started off slow in 1948, seeing an 18-5 loss to Danville on May 1st. Come June, they were 9 games behind first place Winston-Salem, seeing player-manager Bill Nagel replaced by second baseman Glenn Lockamy, seeing him skipper the team to a 50-30 record while batting .328. Outfielder Charlie Fitzgerald hit .362. Shortstop Jimmy Edwards hit .304, and pitcher Al Henninchek finished 22-9 with a 2.24 ERA, and Frank Paulin went 17-8. The playoff race was very tight that season, the tightest the league had ever seen. It led to a tension that took its toll on the players, fans, and umpires alike. During one game in Raleigh on June 18th, fans at Devereaux Meadow kept throwing seat cushions onto the field to protest the umpiring of Bull Davis. After some fans switched to pop bottles, Davis called the game, with the Capitals losing 7-0, declaring a forfeit victory to Martinsville. Davis needed a police escort to exit the ballpark. In Greensboro on August 12th, Raleigh's manager Glenn Lockamy needed to be escorted off the field by police after refusing to leave the playing field following an ejection. Come August, the Capitals were in a seesaw battle with the Martinsville Athletics for first place, with them ending up in a 3-way tie with Martinsville and Burlington on August 27th. They managed to pull away by winning 9 of their last 12 games to finish in first place. The Capitals, though, were unable to pull off a three-peat, falling in the first round to the Burlington Bees. Before the start of the 1949 season, the Carolina League moved up from Class C to Class B. The change raised the league's salary to $4,000 per month, roughly $52,900 today, and increased the number of veteran players, those with 3 or more years of professional experience, from 7 to 13. Not all the teams in the league agreed with moving up to the new class, with the vote being split. Raleigh voted in favor of the move. League president Carol Brown had to break the tie. One of the reasons for the change was the hope by the larger cities of the league to lure Charlotte over from the Tri-State League, something they had been trying to do for the last few years, but the plan would not work. The Capitals spent a good portion of the season in third place, finishing with a 76-68 record. Manager Glenn Lockamy was replaced by Charles Cronin and led the team to a 26-24 record. In the postseason, they swept the Winston-Salem Cardinals in 4 to qualify for another league championship series, where they would face off against the Burlington Bees, who managed to upset the overconfident Danville Leafs in the first round, 4-2. The Bees would keep their winning ways in the league championship series by downing the Capitals in 7 games. The 1950 season was not a good one for the Raleigh Capitals, as they finished in 7th place with a 55-97 record. Pitcher Charles Miller set a Carolina League record when he lost 21 games, finishing with 14 wins. Their attendance dropped to 52,721, the lowest in the league. In 1951, the Capitals were led by former Major Leaguer and future Hall of Famer Joe Medwick. He was hot-tempered and verbally abusive, and did not gain many friends around the league, especially with the umpiring crew. They stayed in playoff competition all season, trading first place with Durham during the month of August. As the month went on, they faded from first place, finishing in third with a 78-62 record. In the first round of the playoffs, they were swept by the eventual league champion, the Winston-Salem Cardinals. The next season, the Capitals, who were managed by Herb Brett, started the season strong, taking over first place for good on June 2nd. In May, they purchased the contract of Norman Small of the Hickory Rebels of the Western Carolina League. He would hit .270 in Raleigh with 25 doubles, 12 home runs, and 68 RBIs in 112 games. On June 10th, they purchased the hard-hitting Canadian outfielder Don McLean from the financially struggling Burlington Graham Pirates. He went on to hit .312 in 83 games. They also reacquired pitcher Al Henenchek from Wilson in the Coastal Plain League. The three joined a team that included veteran Crash Davis. The best pitchers on the team were Ben Rossman and Al Cleary. Rossman finished 18-10 and threw 3 consecutive shutouts in June before giving up a run in a 7-1 victory over Danville on June 26th. Before that run, he threw 38 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. The team's high-water mark came in the first game of a doubleheader against Fayetteville on July 27th when they defeated the Athletics 15-1. Pitcher Al Cleary had a dominant performance both on the mound and in the batter's box. He hit 3 home runs, a double, and a single with 6 RBIs. The win put the Caps 30 games above .500 with a 66-36 record and a 9-game lead over Durham. They then lost the second game to begin a 5-game losing streak. Despite losing 19 of their last 32 games, no one was able to catch up with them, seeing them clinch first place on August 28th with 3 days left in the season. They finished 79-57, 2.5 games up on the Durham Bulls. When the Capitals opened the postseason, grateful fans gifted manager Herb Brett a brand new Studebaker to show their appreciation for all he did that season. His success, though, did not last, as the Caps were swept by the eventual league champions, the Reedsville Luckies. They were again managed by Herb Brett in 1953, jumping off to another fast start, winning 16 of their first 20 games. The strong start, though, didn't stop them from being no-hit by Bill Bean of the Burlington Graham Pirates on April 27th. Towards the end of May, the two teams were tied for first place, with Burlington Graham taking over on June 1st, running up to a 5.5-game lead by June 26th. In early July, Raleigh began eating into the Pirates' lead. On the 7th, they destroyed them 14-5 to pull within a game. Outfielder Rudy Tanner had 4 of Raleigh's 18 hits and drove in 3 runs. The next day, they fell 4-2 to the Pirates, seeing Burlington Graham's lead move back up to 2 games. In the middle of the month, the Capitals began a surge, while Burlington Graham began an 8-game losing streak. They were led by 2 pitchers, Ben Rossman, who finished 20-5 with a 2.5 ERA, and Dizzy Voisell, who went 13-3 with a 2.51 ERA. Voisell won 10 straight games before a 2-1 loss to Fayetteville on July 28th. Down the final stretch, Raleigh's main competition was the Danville Leafs, who were loaded with young prospects from their Major League affiliate, the New York Giants. On August 20th, the Leafs were able to catch up to the Caps, but they dropped back down. Ben Rossman beat Fayetteville 17-3 on August 31st for his 19th win of the season, pushing the Capitals' lead to 3.5 games. They built up their lead to 4.5, beginning a crucial 4-game series against Danville, with the series consisting of consecutive doubleheaders. Danville took the first twin bill, cutting the lead to 2.5 games. The team split the second doubleheader, keeping the Capitals' lead to 2.5 with 5 games left. Raleigh managed to win the pennant despite losing 7 of their last 10 games, thanks to Danville losing their last 5, with Raleigh finishing 83-57. Raleigh's poor play continued into the postseason, where they lost to the Reedsville Luckies 3-2. The Danville Leafs would go on to win the league championship series. The Capitals would not return in 1954. Running the team had become too much of a financial loss over the years for the owners. They weren't helped when the area around Devereaux Meadow, their home since 1945, became the center of a large-scale highway construction project, seeing many fans choosing to stay away. Well, my fellow minor league nerds, that'll do it for part 1 of this 2-part series. Be sure to keep an eye, or ear out, for part 2, which will be released next week. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel or the podcast platform of your choice to be notified when part 2 and all future episodes are released. Until next time, stay safe and be sure to never stop supporting minor league baseball and never stop learning about minor league baseball history.
This podcast is part of the Curved Brim Media Network. Here are some of the other members of Curved Brim Media.
Hi, this is Ed Rivera of the Data Chronicles. Join me as I interview people just like you and players, coaches, GMs on the path that led you to become a fan of the sport.
I'm Paul Caputo, and on the Baseball by Design podcast, I talk to minor league baseball teams, designers, and other super interesting people about what these minor league baseball logos mean, and I talk a little bit about ice cream helmets.
What's up, Bucketheads? I'm Anna DiTommaso, and each week on the Baseball Bucket List podcast, I speak with a different fan about their favorite baseball memories, what the game means to them, and what's left to check off on their baseball bucket list.
Hey everyone, it's Eric from the great state of Kansas.
This is Johnny from the New Orleans Baby Cakes Memorial Museum.
And we are the Earn Fun Average podcast,
where we talk to a variety of guests about their love of baseball and have fun doing it.
America, lower your standards.
Average is what we do best.
This is Patrick and Corey of BaseballMapper.com, and we have made an interactive map to help highlight all baseball teams from the majors down to collegiate summer leagues.
We want to bring you closer to baseball, so get on the site and find a team near you today.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Larson from the Minor League Baseball Hat History Series, and in every episode I go through the history of minor league teams through my personal collection of hats. You can find me on Twitter at @PatLarson1. I hope you guys enjoy.
Learn more about Curved Brim Media at curvedbrimmedia.com.